Okay, so it's the next day now, and I'm putting my brake caliper together here, and you can see I have my little buttons in the back here, and there is a little plate that goes in here just like this, okay, so that because otherwise the brake pad I think could break pretty easily, because it's made out of asbestos impregnated whatever. So we're going to put this in here. See if I can do this without losing everything. And it will push against it. It's in quite a bit, and I think I need to back off on this nut here, which is for the adjustment. Make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. This nut here has a self-locking nut, so you can tighten it up, and that adjusts the basic pressure on it, okay? So what I need to do, and just so you see how it all goes back together here, the first thing you do is put those pins in like I showed you, and then you set this rod back down over the shaft. Then it has a washer here, and then this pin here goes across after you have put this spring on, which catches on here. That's what makes this spring loaded, makes sure it holds it back and backs it off. This is the way it activates, and then it backs off like that. Okay? So I have it backed off enough now so that the pad is flush with this. Okay, so now you can see where the brake pad needs to go, and I have it pretty much cleaned up as well as I could, not being able to see up in there, just kind of doing it by feel. So let me see if I can sneak the brake pad up in there where it needs to go. Okay, now you can see I have put the inside brake pad on, and I put just a dab of silicone on the back of it just to hold it in place so it wouldn't fall out. Now the next thing to do is to put the disc on. Now it's important to note that there are two ways that this could go on, but this crowned side here goes on towards the transmission. All right, otherwise it'll be cockeyed and won't go in all the way. There it is in place. Now we're ready to put the caliper on, and we have to remember to hook the caliper onto that spring before we put it in place. Now I'll show you how it looks after it's all hooked up. Okay, there it is hanging on the spring. All we can do is rotate it up and bolt it in place. Okay, so I have my ratchet on the end of the stud on the caliper, and I have the parking brake set. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tighten that up until I can't turn the wheels anymore with the parking brake set. All right, and then I will release the parking brake and see if that releases, and we'll do that until we get it so it releases fine and still has good braking. So you can see I have the parking brake is in park, and I can still turn both wheels forward. Now I'm going to tighten it up until I can't turn both wheels forward. Barely. Barely. it's going to have more leverage on it when the tractor is on the ground and got its own weight pushing against it. Slips a little bit in reverse, and we don't want it to slip in reverse either. Just going a smidgen each time. See what happens if I release the brake. Still free that way. Still free that way. I'm going to take it a little bit more. Just got to kind of sneak up on it. Yeah. Okay. It's still good that way. And it won't go in reverse. So I'm just going to give it one smidgen more, and I should be good there. Yeehaw! So we got our brakes all done. Now it's time for us to go on to doing the installation of the drive belt.